And just like that, it is the last day of July. It is a new month tomorrow and we hope we're all off to a great start. I'm Denise Tam.
What's up, sports fans? Ang masabi yan, matagal ko ng pantasya. Pangalan ko, Lourdes Vera. Hindi gaya ng katabi kong dalaga, hindi ako dating atleta. Hindi rin pang sports na komentarista unless Olympic event ang paglagok ng serbesa. Isang case ng malamig na pale or pula. 3 bote lang, okay na. Basta wag lang light. Tanggal uho mo sa afternoon delight.
Mentioned, it is the last day of July. Grabe, ang bilis, ano? Ano bang plano mo pag sapit ng August? Bukas na yun.
Prayers, ganyan. Ikaw ba naniniwala sa mga ghost month, ghost month?
Not necessarily, pero syempre, subukan na lang din natin mag-ingat. Wala namang mawawala eh.
August 23 pa hanggang September 21.
Sabi nila dapat daw, don't start anything kapag daw ghost month. Mga negosyo, mga kung ano-ano.
Oo, sa mga historiador, ang August ay buwan ng kasaysayan, kaya maraming nag-aabang para dyan, para pag-usapan. Pero the fact na ghost month ng August at kasaysayan sa ang history month, medyo nakakakaba, di ba? At marami kasi nangyayari buwan ng Agosto. Bukas pag-usapan natin. Wala muna mga multo-multo. Good vibes lamang.
Sige, madami tayong pag-uusapan, ngayong araw na to. So at this point, let's check out the day's headlines.
Right, Vice President Sara Duterte has nothing but gratitude for her defenders and, of course, the Supreme Court for striking down her impeachment complaint. But constitutional experts are not as thankful, citing alleged flaws in the High Tribunal's decision. The full story from mobile journalist Amy Atienza.
It's a major legal victory for Vice President Sara Duterte for now. No less than the Supreme Court ruled that the ouster case against the VP cannot go on for lack of due process. Duterte has in the past weeks been out of the country. But in a statement on what she called an unconstitutional fourth impeachment complaint, she thanked her defense team for taking on her case, even when no one else was willing to stand by her. Sarah also thanked those who petitioned against the ouster case for having what she calls a conviction to challenge the alleged abuses of the House of Representatives. The vice president even quoted parents, children, and silent supporters who she said offered prayers for justice. In the ruling, the Supreme Court had said Congress can only file another impeachment complaint against VP Duterte on February 6, 2026. Senate President Jesus Escudero has already said the Senate will tackle the High Tribunal's order on August 6. He added the senators will be putting this to a debate and vote on what to do with the impeachment. The lower chamber, for its part, vows to file a motion for reconsideration before the SC. For former Supreme Court Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio, the Senate should not take action on the impeachment case for now, as the decision is still not final pending appeal by the House.
If the decision becomes final, of course we have to follow the final ruling of the Supreme Court. It's the final arbiter. Whether it's correct or not, that's the final ruling. It's only executory, but not yet final because the House still has a motion for reconsideration. Normally, you act when it's already final. Because there's a chance, because it's not yet final, there's still a chance it could be reversed or changed.
Personally though, Carpio isn't in favor of his former colleague's ruling. In particular, he questioned the part that said the articles of impeachment had no plenary vote before they were transmitted to the Senate. Recall that more than 200 or a third of the House of Representatives signed the impeachment complaint submitted to the upper chamber.
The finding of the Supreme Court in their decision that there was no plenary approval of the fourth complaint is totally wrong because that is not what the records of the House show. There was an actual action, actual vote by the plenary to send the fourth complaint to the Senate. It was even unanimous. Nobody objected.
Carpio also believes the one-year bar rule isn't applicable to the fourth impeachment complaint.
Supreme Court said that the one-year bar rule started to run when the House adjourned. So when the House adjourned, the fourth complaint was already approved by the plenary and it already reached the Senate. So obviously, the 1-year bar rule cannot apply to the fourth complaint. The fourth complaint was filed on time.
This was seconded by one of the framers of the 1987 Constitution, Attorney Christian Monsod. In particular, he zeroed in on a portion of the SC ruling, stating that the Vice President wasn't given due process in the complaint.
That happens in the hearing in the Senate.
Yes.
So even the basis for the Supreme Court ruling of lack of due process is wrong.
Carpio is suggesting to the Supreme Court now, hold oral arguments before justices decide on the anticipated appeal from the House.
Because it is in the oral argument where you can really see the entire picture. Because
Yes.
the lawyers will have to answer candidly to the court. It's not mandatory, but so that you will have, for you to have a overall appreciation of what happened, you have to call for an oral argument.
Mobile journalist Amy Atienza, we are One News.
The search for the missing sabungeros continues, with Justice Secretary Boying Remulla confirming that another set of skeletal remains were recovered from Taal Lake. Authorities already turned over a human skull and bones to the crime laboratory for examination. While Remulla admits it is unclear whether the remains belong to a sabungero, he believes this discovery bolsters the credibility of key witness Julie Dondon Patidongan alias Totoy.
Nandun yung ngipin eh. May ngipin na kasama. Talagang makikita mo talaga reliable yung sinasabi ng ating testigo. Na doon nga tinatambak ang mga tinatapon at dinidispatcha yung mga labi ng mga taong pinapatay. Hinog na yung kaso.
Remulla adds the complaint against the perpetrators of the disappearances is now ripe for filing. The DOJ is set to file cases of murder, kidnapping with murder, and violations of international humanitarian law. Remulla also discloses that a second witness in the controversial case will come forward soon. This witness is expected to back up Patidongan's claims against his former boss, gaming tycoon Atong Ang. And the mystery lawmaker caught on video watching sabong online now has a face and a name. Meantime, a PNP CIDG official who allegedly forced victims to suing self-proclaimed whistleblower Julie Totoy Patidongan has been relieved from his post. Those stories and more from News 5 correspondent Marian Enriquez.
Ako hindi mo ako makikita sa kahit sa sabungan.
Yan ang iginiit ni Aga Party List Representative Nicanor Briones matapos siyang mahuling nanonood ng sabong sa cellphone habang nasa loob mismo ng kamera. Nangyari yan habang nagbobotohan sa plenaryo ang mga mambabatas para sa bagong House Speaker ng 20th Congress. Pero giit ni Briones, hindi siya tumatalpak.
Nag-message sa akin yung pamangkin ko na gustong mag-invite ng traditional na sabong. Hindi naman ako interesado, hindi naman ako nagsasabong. At kung meron man tayong hindi nagandahan, humingi tayo ng pasensya.
Sa issue naman ng nawawalang mga sabungero, nababahala ang ilan nilang kaanak matapos umanong makatanggap ng impormasyong kakasuhan ang self-proclaimed whistleblower na si Julie Dondon Patidongan alias Totoy. Sa panayam sa Ted Filon DJ Chacha, ayon sa kaanak na si alias Boy, may tumawag sa kanyang taga-CIDG Laguna para umano sa affidavit sa isasampang kaso kay Patidongan, bagay na ikinagulat nila.
Nung tinawagan po ako, ang sabi niya sa akin, isa raw po sa kakasuhan namin which is yung witness namin na si Dondon Patidongan. So, doon po, nag-react na po ako. Bakit niyo po kakasuhan yung witness namin? Siya nga po yung pinaka-witness namin. So, hindi niya naman na-explain doon for na sinabi niya. Ang sabi niya lang sa akin, utos daw po niyang nakakataas.
Naipaalam na nila sa Department of Justice ang usaping ito na relieve na rin sa pwesto ang hepe ng nadadawit na PNP CIDG branch. Nagpasa na ng resolusyon ng Senado para buksan sa publiko ang mga pulong ng Bicameral Conference Committee. Kasunod ito ng pahayag ni House Speaker Martin Romualdez na buksan sa publiko ang BICAM deliberations sa budget para matiyak ang transparency.
Ginawa ko din yon nung Finance Committee Chairman ako. Papanukala ko rin kay Senator Win ngayon na Finance Committee Chairman na gawin yun. Pero nagawa na rin dati yan na pinanukalang amendment na bawat isa ay ginawang open. Kaya nga mas gusto ko, di ba, lahat pinagdedebatihan sa plenaryo.
Yun nga lang, nai-issue si Escudero matapos umanong maispatan sa CCTV na nagpunta umano sa opisina ni House Speaker Romualdez para siguraduhin ang bilyon-bilyong pisong budget insertions noong nakaraang taon. Giit ni Escudero, demolition job ito.
Sa mga insertion ng budget, wala talaga kayong ibinulsa or meron?
Wala. Malamang galing din sa kanila yan dahil ang paninira, na-trace naming paninira laban sa amin ay nanggagaling din sa Kamara. Hindi nga lang siguro 2 beses ako bumisita pero hindi sa tanggapan ni Speaker Romualdez. So, bawal na rin magpunta at gawin ang trabaho bilang BICA member. Bawal bilang Senate President tingnan kung ayos yung staff na gumagawa ng BICAM. May insinuation agad na mali.
Naniniwala si Senator Win Gatchalian kay Escudero. Ang isusulong naman daw ni Gatchalian bilang Senate Finance Committee Chair, siguraduhing nasa website ang lahat ng detalye sa budget para masusuri rin ito ng publiko.
Right now, if you look at the documents connected to the website, you can only see the NEP if you go to the DBM website and download it, and you see the GAA once it's done. But anything in between or anything beyond or before the NEP is not uploaded to the website. So you don't have any way of tracking the movement of the budget. I will make sure, at least on the Senate side, that the documents pertaining to the budget will be uploaded to the website.
Okay, time out muna. Marami pa kaming kwento sa inyo. Magbabalik po ang Afternoon Delight.
This is AP News Minute. President Donald Trump said the U.S. will work with Israel to run food centers in Gaza to address the worsening humanitarian crisis. Few details were given to address starvation in Gaza, but Trump said Israel must ensure the distribution is proper. The Federal Reserve left its short-term interest rate unchanged for the 5th time this year, despite President Trump's calls for a cut. The Fed's key rate remains at about 4.3%. Where it has been since being reduced 3 times last year. Investigators have found that a helicopter involved in a deadly crash with a passenger plane over Washington was flying above its height limit and the altitude readings were inaccurate. The findings were revealed during the first day of NTSB hearings. Fans of the Grateful Dead are gathering in San Francisco for a 3-day concert celebrating the band's 60th anniversary. Dead and Company will perform at Golden Gate Park's Polo Field, expecting around 60,000 attendees daily.
This is Afternoon Delight on One News. Ako po si Lord Vera.
At ako naman po, si Denise Tan. Magandang hapon pong muli.
Alright, on to the news. The water crisis in Bulacan is reaching a boiling point with residents going without supply for weeks on end. And News 5 correspondent Gio Robles has the report.
It's not just water that's running short in Bulacan. Residents' patience is also drying up. In San Jose del Monte, nearly every household has buckets and drums lined up outside, desperate for water. In Barangay Kaipian, served by concessionaire Prime Water, residents have gone more than 2 weeks without running water. With no supply from their taps, families rely solely on water rationing, but often they wait for nothing.
Naku, hirap na kami, sir.
2 araw na, puro punas.
Meet June Obingguar, one of the residents who tells us he fetches water from his office.
Ayan sir, mga 3 piraso lang po. Paligo po, pansaing po.
Even small businesses like Eva's Eatery are feeling the impact.
Nandun na kami sa punto ng depression kasi pag nagising ako, hindi na yung anak ko yung tinitingnan ko eh. Yung gripo, baka walang tulo.
Residents are now demanding that their water bills this month be waived. 7 million customers of Prime Water are affected by poor service, according to the Local Water Utilities Administration, or LUA. LUA says improving the service of water districts and their private partners is now a priority, following a direct order from President Bongbong Marcos in his SONA. They admit that concessionaires, including Prime Water and other water districts, have serious shortcomings.
Prime Water has some deficiencies in their contracts that we are trying to correct, such that hindi nagawan ng facilities, hindi natugunan yung mga kailangan like NRW, expansion, kaya hindi umabot yung necessary promises nila at tubig sa mga tao na apektado ng joint venture partnerships na to.
LUA did not directly confirm whether Prime Water will lose its contract, but hinted that if things don't improve, it's a real possibility.
One party cannot perform. Why do we expect them to?
Prime Water has already submitted a catch-up plan to address service gaps and is cooperating with the agency.
Here now is a quick rundown of more stories on One News. The cloud cluster off northeast of extreme northern Luzon has developed into a low-pressure area. As of 8 this morning, Pag-asa says the LPA has a medium chance of developing into a tropical depression within 24 hours. Meantime, the southwest monsoon or habagat will continue bringing rains over parts of the country today, including Metro Manila. China once again accuses the Philippines of stirring trouble in the South China Sea, calling Manila a source of danger and provocation. Chinese Defense spokesperson Senior Colonel Zhang Xiaokang claims Manila illegally occupies Chinese islands and collaborates with foreign forces to stir tensions. Beijing has long laid claim to the West Philippine Sea, which sits well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. President Bongbong Marcos has appointed Lieutenant General Antonio Navarrete as the new Commanding Chief General of the Philippine Army. Navarrete previously served as commander of the Western Mindanao Command. The Department of National Defense expressed full confidence in his ability to lead with honor and professionalism. Victims of former President Rodrigo Duterte's drug war are urging the ICC to reject his request to delay a ruling on the court's jurisdiction. The Office of Public Counsel for Victims argues the request lacks legal basis and undermines justice for thousands killed. The confirmation of charges against Duterte is set on September 23. And former President Duterte has cut ties with his ex-spokesperson Harry Roque in his ICC case. Digong's lead counsel Nicholas Kaufman accused Roque of interfering, misleading the public, and pushing a, quote, crazy plan to sue the Dutch government. Roque denied the claims and maintains he still supports Duterte's defense.
All right. At this point, let's hit pause and cut ties with the recent crazy political issues and talk about a more important concern, the state of education in the Philippines. Sabi ng Presidente sa kanyang ika-4 na SONA, mas bibigyang pansin daw ng pamahalaan ng mga pangangailangan ng mga guro. At para dito po, makakausap natin ngayon si Ginoong Benjo Basas, ang chairman po ng Teachers Dignity Coalition at isa po sa mga nag-aabang ng pinangakong laptop mula sa SONA 2025. Teacher Benjo, magandang hapon sa iyo.
Yes, Sir Lord, opo. No?
Yes, sir.
Magandang hapon sa iyo.
Teacher
Magandang
Benjo,
hapon po
di
sa
natin
mga nanonood.
volume siguro, no? Teacher Benjo,
Hello po.
si Lord at si Denise kasama po dito ngayon.
Oh, yes, opo.
Ayun.
Okay,
sir.
Magandang hapon po.
Opo. Pinag-uusapan po, naglabas na po ng statement ang TDC, ang Teachers Dignity Coalition. Ina-acknowledge po ninyo na, kahit papano may mga binanggit ang Pangulo na mahalagang mga puntos pagdating sa edukasyon. Ang ginamit pong term niyo ay lacking in depth, clarity, and commitment. At medyo komplikado po kung isa-isahin po natin. Unahin po muna natin, pagdating po sa budget, kayo po hindi masaya na walang banggit kung magkano sa General Appropriations Act ng 2025 yung education budget. Pero hindi ba parang given na dapat na ito'y pinakamataas dapat na pupondohan, sir?
Yes, sir. No, in fact, kaya ganyan po yung aming statement. Sapagkat itong 2025, hindi tinupad ng ating gobyerno, ng Kongreso, in particular, yung constitutional mandate na dapat pinakamataas yung education sector. In fact, pag sama-samahin mo yung CHED test, DepEd, mas mataas pa rin ang budget ng DPWH, di ba? Single agency po yan. Kaya yun yung medyo nakakadismaya kasi yung pagkakamali na yan ng Kongreso ngayong 2025 ay hindi man lang hindi natin narinig dapat explicit na binanggit ng ating Pangulo yan. Kung mapapansin mo, Sir Lord, paiwas pa nga di ba? Ang binabanggit niya doon yung education is parang one of the top priorities. Parang hindi ganoon. Dapat ang supposedly construction top priority talaga, hindi one of the. So yun yung isa naming nakikita dito. Of course, we recognize na may impact mahaba nga sa recent na history natin, parang ito yung isa sa may pinakamahaba siyang banggit, I mean, yung presidente may pinakamahabang banggit sa education sector sa kanyang SONA. Kaya medyo, kami naman marunong mag-appreciate po. Pero yun nga po, na medyo kulang pagdating doon sa sustansya po talaga.
Sir, Denise Tan po, gusto ko lang din po kayong matanong about there was a verbal directive coming from Education Secretary Sanya Angara about the makeup classes, yung mga catch-up classes, with the lack of mention of the budget for this year. Alam naman po natin, kailangan din yan, kung i-extend natin ang hours ng ating mga guro. What do you make of that, sir?
Well, sa tingin namin, hindi pa kailangan yung makeup classes. Either extend yung teaching hours doon sa weekdays o lalo na yung magkaroon po ng Saturday classes. Hindi pa po yan na kailangan kasi even yung DepEd policies ay nagsasabi na hindi pa ito ngayon na necessary kasi pwede lang naman yan kapag na-compromise na yung 180 na negotiable teaching days. So far po hindi pa naman kaya pwede pa naman at saka pwede po, yung ibang mga pamamaraan, yung effective na pedagogy, at yung ibang alternative ways po para mahabol yung, kung ano man, yung tinutukoy ng DepEd na learning losses for the first and a half month actually, nung school year po na ito. Maaga pa, ibig sabihin kaya pa natin na maghabol.
Teacher Benjo, bakit hanggang ngayon may kalituhan pa rin doon sa 6 versus 8 hours? Na yung 6 hours, bakit hanggang ngayon parang kailangan pa rin linawin po yun? 6 hours, ito yung sa classroom lang dapat na dinedevote ng teacher. Plus,
yes, sir.
Pwede ho bang paki-clear po para sa amin, sir?
Okay po. Yung section 13 po ng Magna Carta of public school teachers nung 1966 pa, nung nabatas yan. Ang sinasabi po doon, limited sa 6 hours yung actual classroom teaching. So hindi pa pwedeng lumampas po dyan. Pag lumampas sa 6 hours na nagtuturo yung teacher, entitled siya doon sa overtime pay. 1966 pa po yan, pero at least ngayon nabanggit ng presidente sa kanyang SONA. Yun namang 8 hours, Sir Lord, yun yung trabaho. Kasi may mga teachers po tayo na hindi naman siya talaga teaching. No? Pero ang title niya ay teacher, like head teachers. Even principal, teachers po sila, no? As per Magna Carta. Pero sila yung mga teachers na hindi engaged in actual classroom teaching. Yung tinatawag ko sa Magna Carta linawin ko lang, sila yung 8 hours. Head teachers, principal, supervisors, 8 hours sila. Kaya pag lumampas sila ng 8 hours na nagtatrabaho sa school, entitled sila sa overtime pay. Kami naman, kagaya ko po, na classroom teacher na naka-assign sa mga classroom, kami may entitled sa overtime pay pag lumampas ng 6 na oras yung aming actual teaching. So yun po yung ibig sabihin po ng teaching overload at saka yung overtime pay. No? Pero ngayon, ang sinasabi po sa panuntunan ng Department of Education for the longest time, na ipanalo namin yun noong 2008, yung mga teacher, pwedeng mag-stay. Basta ikaw ay engaged in actual classroom teaching, you may stay for only 6 hours at school. Yun din yung maximum. Walang sinaset na minimum, Sir Durt. No? So, hindi naman sinasabi na dapat magturo kayo ng 6 na oras. Ngayon lang nauso yan, no? Noong 2024, no? Na sabi ng DepEd ay dapat ay magturo ang lahat ng teacher ng 6 na oras. Yun yung sinasabi. Pag lumampas doon, tsaka siya may entitled sa teaching overload o overtime pay.
Teacher
at
Benjo,
imposible na makuha, no? Kung pag binasa natin yung panuntunan. Opo.
1966 pa ka mo. Pero bakit bakit hirap na hirap daw ma-implement ito? Sino ho ba dapat ang magde-define?
Well, DepEd ang primary agency, implementing agency ng Magna Carta. Alam mo, Sir Durt, ang unang-una na attempt ng DepEd dyan, very delayed na rin, belated na rin, 2008. 2008 yung first attempt na nagkaroon tayo ng policy. Yun yung DepEd Memorandum 291 noong 2008, kung saan kinilala niya na dapat yung mga teacher na nagtuturo ng lampas ng 6 na oras ng actual ay kailangan bigyan ng overtime. No, may mga pagkakataon na naipanalo namin yan, pero case-to-case basis. Depende rin yan kung gaano kahusay, gaano katatag, gaano katibay din yung mga organization sa baba. Alam mo yung bagay na naipanalo mo na at nailagay na sa batas, sa implementation ipaglalaban mo pa. No? Tapos until itong DepEd Order number 5 to 2024, parang binawi sa amin yung mga bagay na 60, almost 60 years na ipinaglalaban namin. So yun yung medyo malungkot. Kaya itong nagpalakpakan yung mga congressman doon sa sinabi ng ating Pangulo na may overtime yung mga teacher. Hindi naman natin masisisi. Ang context lang naman ng mga pumalakpak ay bibigyan ng overtime yung mga teacher, which is maganda naman, di ba? Pero kung alam nila na ito ay isang napakamasalimuot na bagay na dumaan sa napakaraming komplikasyon at hindi talaga na i-implement at ang basis ay yung existing na DepEd Order number 5, 2004, naku po ito insulto sa aming mga guro sa totoong buhay.
Sir Benjo, sorry kung medyo silly tong question ko. We're talking about implementation. Doon po ba sa, let's say, sa level ng sila amongst the teachers or amongst the staff, meron din po kayang complications with regard to, let's say, lumagpas lang ako ng 20 minutes or 30 minutes, tulong muna sa akin yan. Tapos, alam mo yun, yung parang medyo nagkakasilipan pa, may nitpicking pa kung ano yung dapat i-file na overtime o hindi. May ganun po bang mga kaso?
Hindi naman po. Sa tingin namin kasi, kapag yung schedule po kasi, Ma'am Denise, yung teaching load, kasi yan only round yan binibigay sa iyan ng pasukan. Yun talaga yan. Pag lumampas ka dyan, hindi naman yan, wala namang pananagutan dyan yung co-teacher mo. Yung gobyerno may pananagutan dyan. Pero sa totoong buhay, Ma'am Denise, tama ka, lahat yan ay thank you. Maraming mga teacher kaya nilang patunayan po na sila'y pinagtuturo lampas 6 na oras at nagtatrabaho ng lampas ng 8 oras, wala pong nakukuhang compensation. At yan ay violation ng aming Magna Carta ever since. Kasi alam mo, hindi naman kami matuos, hindi naman ito kikwentahin ng gusto. Kaya lang, pag ibang level na ng exploitation, hindi na ba pwede na pagbigyan. Kasi alam mo, lagi kaming parang guilt trip ito laging kinakailangan teacher ka magtiyaga ka. Di ba? Parang niro-romanticize natin yung pagiging yung profesyon ng pagiging guro na ito ay hindi lang simpleng profesyon, hindi hanap buhay, kundi ito ay okasyon, calling, no? Kaya kahit hindi mo bigyan ng compensation yung mga ginagawa mo, okay lang. Tapos na po yung mga ganong panahon, di ba? Kasi okay lang sa amin yan. Di wag mo rin pasahurin yung secretary o yung undersecretary o yung mga officials, di ba? Pero laging kami, bakit lagi kami yung sinasakripisyo at binabala? Parang ganun po.
Ang mahirap kasi dyan, sir, na bumabalik din tayo dun sa resiliency, puro mga ganyan as we've
Exactly. Opo.
established, overwork, underpaid ang mga guro. Pero sir, balikan natin yung usapan ng makeup classes. With their situation right now, talking about our teachers, kaya pa po ba?
Well, lagi naman namin pong kinakaya. Tama ka dyan, Ma'am Denise, no? Resiliency, no? Kaya lang, ibinabalik sa atin, eh. Kaya, pag ginamit sa atin ng resiliency card, tapos tayo, pare-pareho, di ba? Yung mga mamamayan ang ginagawang sakripisyo, di ba? Imbes na yung trabaho ng gobyerno, o imbes na yung dapat paggugulan ng pondo ng gobyerno, dapat pag-isipan ng gobyerno, bahala na yung mga tao sa ibaba, di ba? Walang ayuda, bahala kayo maganap. Binaha kayo, bahala kayo maganap na pupuntahan ninyo, no? Ganon din sa itong makeup classes. Ganon din yung pagtingin natin dyan, di ba? Hindi naman natin kailangan mag-makeup classes, no? Kung kaya po natin. Kasi ang problema natin kapag tinanggap lang natin itong sinasabi ng DepEd na to, no, ng gobyerno na kailangan ng makeup classes kasi merong learning losses. Parang tinanggap natin na ito lang ang problema. O ito ay primary reason kung bakit tayo may learning losses. Hindi po. Napakaliit na bahagi ng tinatawag po natin na class disruption o class suspensions, no, doon sa learning losses, no, doon sa pagbagsak na kalidad ng edukasyon. Yun ang hamon natin sa gobyerno. Dapat tanggapin ninyo yan, no? Araw-araw kung may bagyo man o may problema tayo sa mga classroom. Siksikan ng mga classroom natin, walang kubeta ang mga bata, walang tubig ang mga bata, ang baba ng sweldo ng teacher. Ito, alam mo dito na Secretary Angana, walang libro ang mga bata sa mga subjects, no, sa kada grade level mula kinder hanggang grade 12. Ilan lang dyan ang may textbook. Paano makakapag-aral yung mga bata na walang libro? Iaasa mo na naman dun sa gadget, iaasa mo dun sa downloadable na modules. Hindi naman lahat may kuryente, hindi lahat may internet, hindi lahat may gadgets. No? So, doon po sana. Doon po tayo mag-usap. Wala naman kami problema sa makeup classes. No? Okay kami dyan. No? Kaya naman namin yan. No? Kaya pa namin extend yung service. Diba? Pero dapat meron tayong level ng accountability man lang at pagtanggap na meron tayong pagkukulang bilang sistema. Kasi sinasabi na nga nung Pangulo na meron tayong crisis. Diba?
Kabenjo, bukod sa mga maruruming banyos, mga subjects, mga klase na walang mga nagtuturo, isa pa po sa panawagan ninyo, ang Pangulo dapat bumisita unannounced sa mga public schools na hindi kasama ang Secretary of Education at yung mga top-level officials. Maliban po sa mga binanggit natin na mga banyo marurumi, mga facilities sa kulang-kulang, ano pa ang makikita po ng Presidente pag pumunta siya na walang nakasanitize, halimbawa na senaryo?
Yun nga po yung gusto namin, no? Para hindi na unannounced, para makita niya talaga yung eksakto, no? Nagsisiksikan yung mga bata ho dyan, ano po? Yung mga schools natin, wala pong mga bakod man lang yan, no? May mataas na security risk, no? Ang hirap puntahan, no? Putikan, no? Tatawid ka ng ilog, etc., di ba? Dito naman sa lungsod, sobrang init, di ba? Yung mga building natin dito sa kahit dito sa mga lungsod, dilapidated, swerte pa yung mga malalaking mga syudad, no, na may pera, no? Kaya magkakatabi naman yung mga building na wala nang espasyo yung mga bata na tumakbo man lang maglaro, di ba? Alam mo yung ideal na school nung mga panahon natin ng mga Gen X tayo, no? na pwede kang makipaglaro sa kaibigan mo, no po. So, yun yung gusto namin makita, no, nung ating Pangulo, yung mga teacher, yung mga faculty rooms, no, na hindi naman talaga mga room, diba, na nagsisiksikan yung mga teacher po doon, ano, na wala man lang mapwestuhan ng mabuti, diba? So, yun sana regular, no, si Presidente and even si Secretary, no, kung pupunta, no, para makita ko nila. Tapos kausapin nila yung mga bata. Diba kasi ang problema, no, pagdating ng report sa ating Pangulo or even ng Secretary natin, puro magaganda. Ang nire-report ko ng mga tao, yung gustong marinig ng pinag-uulatan, hindi po yun. Dapat para makita pong direkta, puntahan natin yung ating, ngayon, evacuation center po, maraming eskwelahan sa Bulacan, sa Pampanga, no? Kahit dito sa Valenzuela, di ba? Well, at least may mga napuntahan naman po sila, di ba? Pero alam nyo, pag pinupuntahan kasi nila, minsan hindi rin nakakatulong, di ba? Hindi nakakatulong, nakakaabala pa, no? Doon sa mga operation ng school, sa operation ng ating even ng evacuation centers.
The state of education is far from sound. Ang dami pa natin hindi natatalakay, Ka Benjo. Wala pa na nga tayo dun sa yung sa evaluation ng mga teachers at yung mga promotion na isa rin palang problema yun. Pero hanggang sa susunod po na pag-uusap, maraming salamat po sa oras na binigay ninyo. Ka Benjo Basas ng Teachers Dignity Coalition. Maraming salamat, Ka Benjo.
Yes, sir. Maraming salamat po, Ms. Denise, and of course, Idol Lord, maraming salamat po.
Salamat po.
Thank you, sir.
Now, over at the House of Representatives, new leaders have been elected for several committees. Chairing the powerful Appropriations Committee is Nueva Ecija 1st District Congresswoman Mika Swansing. This panel has direct influence over the national budget. The Quadcom will continue to exist in the 20th Congress, still composed of the committees on dangerous drugs, public order and safety, human rights, and public accounts. These panels will be chaired respectively by Bukidnon 2nd District Representative Jonathan Keith Flores, Manila 2nd District Congressman Rolando Valeriano, Manila 6th District Representatives Benny Abante and Bicol Saro Party List Representative Terry Ridon. Meanwhile, Davao de Oro 1st District Representative Carmen Zamora will chair the Committee on Accounts, which takes care of the internal budget of the House. The lower chamber has also elected Marikina 2nd District Congressman Miro Kimbo as chair of the Committee on Ways and Means, which handles tax and revenue legislation. Manila 3rd District Representative Joel Chua is retained as Good Government and Public Accountability Committee Chair, while Cagayan de Oro 1st District Congressman Lordan Suan heads the Committee on Public Information. Earlier, Majority Leader Sandro Marcos has also been named Rules Committee Chair. Iloilo 3rd District Representative Lawrence Defensor, who also serves as House Prosecutor in the Duterte impeachment, is Senior Deputy Majority Leader. At the Senate, more committee chairmanships
were distributed, and leading culture and the arts is Senator Loren Legarda, while Senator Bato de la Rosa also got the Civil Service Government Reorganization and Professional Regulation Committee. Minority members get one committee each. Senator Mig Zubiri has Economic Affairs, while returning Senator Ping Lacson will be chairing the Electoral Reforms and People's Participation Panel. Senator Mark Villar, who already heads Public Works, is also assigned the Government Corporations and Public Enterprises Committee, while Senator Risa Ontiveros gets to head again the Women, Children, and Family Relations and Gender Equality Committee. Ontiveros is also Deputy Minority Leader alongside Zubiri, while the Deputy Majority Leaders are Senators J.V. Ejercito and Rodante Marcoleta. And speaking of Senator Ontiveros, she held a media briefing earlier today. That story and more from Mobile Journal, Merrimon Reyes, who is reporting live from the Senate. Merrimon, anong napag-usapan sa press ko na yon?
Magandang hapon at marami-rami yung nabanggit kanina niya at napag-usapan kasama si Senadora Risa Hontiveros. Kasama na rito yung inaabangan natin na August 6 na araw na pag-uusapan at possibly pagdesisyonan ng mga senador itong impeachment case laban kay VP Sara Duterte na dinesisyonan nga ng Korte Suprema as unconstitutional. Ang nasabi dito ni Senadora Risa, una-una, yung sa kanyang pagiging miyembro ng minority, she is proud daw and she's excited to work with the minority alongside Tito Sen as minority leader. Though yun nga, may mga pagkakaiba man daw sa opinion, for example, dito sa impeachment, nag-iisa naman daw ang minority pagdating doon sa ideya na kailangan daw magkaroon ng maayos at buong desisyon o paggalaw ang Senado patungkol nga dito sa impeachment. So we are expecting daw on August 6, mayroong masinsinang pagdedebate, mga argumento, and ang nasabi pa ng Senadora, possibly baka hindi parang magkaroon ng botohan on that day, lalong-lalo kung kukulangin pa yung oras para doon sa paghihimay-himay ng opinion sa mga magsasabing go, sa magsasabing wag nang ipagpatuloy ito. Kasi halimbawa sila Senator Mig Zubiri, in-acknowledge nila na may mangilan-ngilang mga senador. Halimbawa sila Senadora Risa, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, who are now currently drafting also another resolution para magkaroon nga ng pagsusulong doon sa desisyon ng Supreme Court na maipagpatuloy pa itong impeachment trial. Ang sinasabi naman ng ibang mga senador, ito talaga yung nagiging directions mula pa noong 19th Congress. At sabi pa ni Senate President Jesus Codero na kung pinagpatuloy yan noong February tapos nagkaroon ngayon ng ruling ang EDSA, unconstitutional pa lang lahat from the very beginning, so doon natin makikita kung paano nga ba yung magiging middle ground ng mga senador on August 6. And so far, ang asahan din natin sa mga susunod na linggo ay magsisimula na yung committee hearings at kasama na dyan at nabanggit din ng Senadora is tutugisin na nga rin nila itong online gambling or gaming kung saan naapektuhan na rin ito ang mga pamilya, lalong-lalo na marami, from 3 million to 5 million according to Senator Mig Zubiri sa kanyang privilege speech kahapon, ganito na kaalarma talaga yung issue patungkol sa online gambling.
Alright, Marymon. Okay, ongoing pa ba yung press conference?
Hindi na, kanina umaga
Okay.
lang yan around 10:30 to bago mga around 11:30 natapos itong press briefing with Senator Risa. Ngayong hapon, wala na tayong inaasahan kasi adjourned ang plenary session until Monday. So kasabay ng plenary session, asahan natin tuwing umaga magko-conduct na ng hearings itong mga komite. Dagdag na rin natin na posible isa sa mga una nating makikitang schedule is yung Committee on Basic Education ni Senator Bam Aquino kung saan sa privilege speech niya rin kagabi, kung madadagdag pa natin, gusto niyang ma-address yung kakulangan sa mga classroom. Sinuportahan ito ni Senator Pia Cayetano and even Senator Sherwin Gatchalian na last time hawak itong Basic Education Committee nga at gusto nilang tugisin yung 159,000 na classrooms sa kakailanganin. Bilyon-bilyon budget yung kailangan sana para matugunan ito. Pero mukhang maliit lang yung around 3 billion na budget na nailaan for this year. So isa yan sa nais nga nilang mabigyan ng solusyon. Kabilang din dyan as also Senator Erwin Tulfo chairing yung Committee on Games and Amusement. For him, gusto niya total ban on online gambling pero aware din siya na mayroong iba pang mga opinion tungkol dito kaya naisip muna mag-conduct ng hearing sa maraming stakeholders. After nyan, yung findings i-report sa Senado and hopefully later on nagmagsisik siya ng audience with the President for a possible executive order.
Oo, Marymon, nahirapan ako mag-focus sa sinasabi mo kasi ang lalaki pala ng mga nila dyan sa legacy wall, ano? Di ba? Para sila mga higanting nakatambay sa likod mo.
Ito yung bagong legacy wall for the 20th Congress. Ito yung ni-reveal around 2 to 3 weeks ago bago maghabagat. Actually, Lunes yun, maghabagat na yun, simula na talaga yun. And around 800,000 ang naging gastos daw dito. Bukod dyan mismo sa pagpapatayo ng legacy wall, kasama na rin daw dyan yung pinaka-photoshoot ng mga senador dahil kailangan nang i-coordinate yung mga schedule nila, yung pag-aayos sa kanila. And kung i-compare nyo dito sa likuran natin, ito yung from the 19th Congress, binahagi rin ni SP Cheese na ang arrangement ng mga senador dito is alphabetical order na hindi na siya by leadership or by block compared dito sa likuran natin. So parang yun na yung ina-establish nila ngayon na fair game na para na raw wala na raw magkakaroon ng selosan or mali siya pagdating sa legacy wall.
Siguro dapat bang nilalagay sa wall na yun yung... Anyway, okay. Bago pa magka-problema ang mga bagay-bagay, nako, ang ating mobile journal, Marymon Reyes, maraming salamat sa iyo.
All right, this is Afternoon Delight on One News. We just need to pause for another break. We'll be right back.
July 31st, 1964. Ranger 7 transmits pictures of the moon back to Earth before the American space probe smashes onto the lunar surface. 5 years later, the first men set foot on the moon during NASA's Apollo 11 mission. 1777. A young nobleman from France begins to make his name during the American Revolution. The Marquis de Lafayette, then 19 years old, is appointed a major general in the Continental Army. The following year, France formally sides with the American colonists against the British. 1972. Missouri Senator Thomas Eagleton withdraws as Democratic presidential candidate George McGovern's running mate. The move follows the disclosure that Eagleton had been hospitalized for psychiatric treatment in the 1960s and twice received electroshock treatment for depression.
My personal feelings are secondary to the necessity to unify the Democratic Party and to elect George McGovern as the next president of the United States.
McGovern taps Sergeant Shriver to replace Eagleton on the Democratic ticket. That fall, they lose to President Richard Nixon in a landslide.
The Dark Lord ascending.
In 1965,
The two men appeared out of nowhere, a few yards apart in the narrow, moonlit lane.
meet the writer who cast the literary spell that created young magician Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling, author of the best-selling Potter books, is born in southwest England. Today in history, July 31st. Ed Donahue, The Associated Press.
And we're back. You're still watching Afternoon Delight. Thank you for staying with us.
At thank you rin dahil dumating na ang ating delight of the day, which is grilled cheese bacon sandwich.
Umuo na lang kayo.
Oh, sige.
Ganda naman tingnan sa screen, ha? Diba? Asa ng bacon?
Nandun, ayan.
Ayan, oh.
Sticking out.
Bacon pala yan.
Oo.
Akala ko yung dumikit na tissue.
Grabe naman siya. Masarap. Oh, teka lang, uhisi.
Hindi pa kumakain.
Ako hindi pa kumakain, mamaya ako yan na titikman. Alright.
Do not judge the sandwich
Bakit? Hindi ko naman ginudge.
by its grill marks.
Sige, ito, judge
Parang
na.
naupuan lang ni Kuya Glenn, pero okay na.
Para sa iba siguro ang marka, no, kung naupuan ni Kuya Glenn.
Hindi, iba kulay dapat.
Ayan, okay. Sige, ito na lang muna ang ating mga storya on social media. First one on lifewire.com. TikTok rolls out real-time account blocking for parents. What does this mean? So, ibig sabihin daw nito is apparently kung yung child, there is now a new option kung saan they can pair the child's account to the parent's account. Tapos the parents can actually block, basically, na-filter out niya who their kids interact with. And they can block certain accounts kung ayaw nilang maka-interact yun ng anak nila. And the third party na lang, yung third party won't be notified. But hindi mabablock ni parent yung certain account if that account blocks them first. So unahan ang labanan dito.
Aba?
Oo.
Paano pag mag-ex pala?
Mag-ex? Edi dapat si Bagets pa lang nagbablock na.
Wala pang boyfriend, girlfriend, dapat mag-gets.
Ganon? Oo nga naman. Ayan. So, but unfortunately, this is not available daw everywhere, ano? Pero this is something they're rolling out right now. That
Biruin
option, oo. Kasi madaming, alam naman natin yung social media ngayon, ano? Pabata na pabata yung mga users.
Lalo
Specifically
na sa
TikTok.
Marami raw mga predators, ha? At isipin mo, buti na lang. Buti na lang. Malakas si Donald Trump sa TikTok. Kaya hindi niya pinaban.
Nako po. And speaking.
Munti ka na.
Oo, ito. Nabanggit na rin naman si President Donald Trump. This one on the Philippine Star. The headline reads, planning to visit the U.S., new Trump fee may cost Filipinos an extra $250.
Hindi maliit yan, ha?
Malaki yan. That's around 14,000 14,371 pesos. So that will be on top of your other expenses daw. This is after President Donald Trump signed into law.
Sama yan sa Big Beautiful Bill.
Yes, ayun na nga. So ang nakalagay dito, it's called the Visa Integrity Fee, which requires tourists or any alien issued a non-immigrant visa at the time of the issuance to pay $250. Ang laki, 14,000.
From October 2024 hanggang, I forget kung anong buwan sa 2025. Anyway, ang apektado rito, mostly mga turista.
Pero
Mga
grabe,
turista
ano?
talaga.
So kung, sana maaga kayong nakapag-apply ng mga visas ninyo kung kayo may planong pumunta ng, bumisita ng US.
Pero,
Oh.
may mga exempted rito. At parang may, makikita mo talaga, no? Exempted raw, kasi parts nung kanilang, meron silang kasunduan. Visa waiver program with countries like Australia, Japan,
New Zealand,
Singapore, ano pa ba?
South Korea, and Taiwan.
At mostly from European countries. Ito yung mga bansa na hindi pwedeng tawag ni Donald Trump na mga S-holes. Gaya nung sinabi niya dati.
Nako.
Anyway, ewan ko kung nilinaw na kung paano sisingilin ito eh. Wala pa yatang malinaw na kung paano idadagdag kung saan kukunin yung, kung paano masisingil yung pera. Abangan ang susunod na kabanata. Kasi this year nga ba, 250th anniversary ng American Independence at meron silang brand American na tinatawag. Yan.
Sige, abangan natin kung sino mga...
Make America Great Again. Pero si Trump, medyo nararattle sa Epstein controversy. Ayun. Kasi hindi matahimik.
Hindi talaga matatapos.
Lalo na yung MAGA base. May ibang MAGA base na talagang sinisingil sa Trump. Anyway.
Ito. A public design contest has been launched to gather fresh ideas on what can be done with EDSA's current state. Mobile Journal, Ivan Tarinque with the story.
Sabi nila, hindi lang kotse ang naiipit ngayon sa EDSA, kundi pati solusyon para maibsan ang traffic. Ganito halos araw-araw ang tanawin sa EDSA. Kotse sa kotse, traffic sa traffic. Sa datos ng MMDA, mahigit 430,000 na sasakyan ang dumaraan dito araw-araw. Pero ginawa lang ang highway na ito para sa 250,000. Marami nang nagbabalak na ayusin ng EDSA. Ang dami ring suggestion. Kaya nagsama-sama na ang mobility group sa bagong pakulo. Isang pa-contest na ang tema, paano mo ididesenyo ang EDSA?
Think of feasible na more grounded solutions because these solutions can really go a long way, especially now that we are just starting.
Aba, full support ng Department of Transportation diyan. Pwedeng sumali kahit sino, mapa-arkitekto, estudyante, motorista o commuter. Walang entry fee. Pero pag nanalo ka, 100,000 pesos ang premyo. Deadline sa August 24. At kasama raw ang ilang local at national government agencies sa magja-judge. Kung disenyo mo ang manalo, mali mo maka-impluwensya sa aksyon na gagawin mismo ng ating gobyerno sa EDSA.
So we're not starting from blank slate. They have to integrate whatever is in there for this to be, more realizable in the future. You should know how to work within the bounds that we have right now.
Putting our ideas out is the best way to influence the outcome.
Imbes na mag-rant sa social media tungkol sa traffic, baka pwede mo na ito iguhit literal. Malay mo, ikaw na makapagbigay ng tamang direksyon sa EDSA. Mobile Journal Ivan Taringi po hatid ang muka ng balita.
Sarap mag-rant. Pero imbes mag-rant, mag-alas stress na naman, kaya ito na po ulit ang Eyes of the Science. Today's edition ay, ito yung pangalan ng steak sauce.
F1. Tama na muna.
I-record ko.
Wala pa eh.
I-record ko.
Oh. Okay, sige, pakita lang
Okay.
natin.
Photo number 1, nag-chat. Anong oras flight mo?
Anong flight? Barko sasakyan ko.
Okay. Anong oras float mo? Number
Okay.
2, tanong. Para kanino ka bumabangon? Sagot.
Sana nagtanong ka muna kung may tulog ako.
Oo nga naman. Number 3, chat to seller.
Hello sir, order na po kayo ng chop suey, 150 pesos lang.
Good for?
Good for health. Good for health po. In fairness.
May punto.
Tama. Mag-incorporate some veggies in your diet. Okay. Sige, pag may nakita po kayo mga signs, please send them to us at afternoondelighton@gmail.com. Sige, binabati naman namin ng lahat na nanonood na Afternoon Delight via live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Unahin ko na Lolo Johnny, tsaka Tito Redel and Tita Jane Katapia. Thank you po sa padala nyo.
Uy, naku, may padala.
Oo, so padala nyo kahapon.
Sana all.
Extended treat for my birthday. Maraming salamat po. Okay, sino pa? Ralph Domingo, Alex Fuentes, always watching, Elmo Cardenas.
Tingnan ko sa aking YouTube Premium, ha?
Sige, ikaw na. Wala akong premium eh.
Wala kang premium?
Wala. Alam mo naman ako.
Let there be light. Bakit kailangan magpanggastos sa mga ganyang legacy wall? Gastos lang yan sa tax. Kasi baka makalimutan niyo raw. Let there be light. Marlon Manalo, nung panahon ng Golden Age ng Senate, hindi na sila kailangan ng legacy wall. Tama.
Legacy nila yung naaalala talaga.
Binabanggit ko nga, Marlon.
Oh.
Ang ilagay dapat ng mga mukha doon, sila Jokno, Tanyada, Rocco, yun talaga mga statesmen talaga. At
Okay.
wag na yung mga char-char.
Easy.
Danilo Natividad, bacon and pandesal, okay na sa akin. Appear tayo, Danilo Natividad. Dennis Palaganas, hello po from Dagupan City. Ken Yap TV, shoutout po from Espanya.
Aba?
John Roy Beleno, standards ng school plant, Ikigai. Let's learn from the Korean or the Japanese. Alex Fuentes, of course, meron siyang, ano to?
Meron
Emoji
siyang,
na,
mga
pretzel
GIF.
ba to?
Ewan ko, hindi ko alam tawag dyan.
GIF yan, GIF.
GIF bag?
GIF.
I don't know. Ano ba talaga?
Mike P. Swabing Huwebes. Shoutout po sa mga Berks ng Philippines Graphic. Von A. and Dexter T. Aba. Sabi ni John Roy U. Beleno, merong policy on overtime work sa ibang departments. Meron ding analogous policy sa private sector. Check. Not more than 2 hours per week. Duly approved by head teacher or principal. Bah. Okay. Troy Mercado, politika sa Pilipinas parang Smoky Mountain. Mawawalang galang na po, wala na po yung Smoky Mountain ngayon. Pero
Sige.
marupin pa rin ang politika sa
Oh,
Pilipinas.
teka lang.
John Centelices, nakadaan na ba kayo sa Villar City? Grabe lawak ng lupa ng mga... Oh, anong pangalan ng city? Villar City, siyempre.
Nakadaan na ako.
Laki, no?
Ang
Hindi
lawak.
ka maligaw eh. Yung
Ang
literal
lawak
hanggang abot ng tanaw mo.
Sabi ko, ay, nandito pa rin ako. Parang gano'n.
Di ba? Wawa naman sila, no?
Sino
May tubig
pa?
kaya doon?
Ha?
May tubig kaya? Optimus? Optimus. Alam mo yun eh. Ojet Wenceslau, John Centelices. At Elmo Cardenas. Okay. Digital Womp Womp. Okay.
Ayun, thank you so much.
Ganun
Ibang
ka na
klase
lang.
talaga yung prime mo, no? Ay, premium pala.
Sabi mo rin.
Premium, bakit? Alright, that's all to do it for us this Thursday. The last day of July. Thank you for watching Afternoon Delight. Ako po si Denise Tan.
Okay, Optimus Premium. Join us again next month.
Ay, pinawisan ako.
Bukas na yan, 2:00 in punto. Ako po si Lourdes de Vera. Have a delightful afternoon. Ingat po tayo.